what businesses have the best cash flow?
So this will be relevant for everybody in the audience and also hits on what we were talking about with the wealth thing. Like wealthy people choose higher leverage opportunities, and we went over what leverage was earlier. The best businesses, especially in an inflationary period, are businesses that have low capital expenses.
Okay.
And that's because if
you have some examples?
Yeah. So I'll give you opposite examples to make, and then I'll drive it. So something that does have high capital expense, which is what you would not want to get into, would be like stuff that has lots of inventory, stuff that has lots of supply chain, lots of manufacturing, heavy equipment, things where you have to constantly buy more stuff in order to increase capacity, right? A low capital expense business are things like services, right? Services, digital businesses. Software is mixed because sometimes the development team can be considered a capital expense. So it really depends on how you build the dev team. But the idea is that if you can produce 10 times more units without phenomenally changing the cost basis, then you will have a business that has lower capital expenses.
Yes.
And so that's what you like. And most of those types of businesses produce more cash flow, have more pricing power. And so, I mean, that's what Warren Buffett invests in, right? It's high, insurance, Geico.
Right.
There's no capital, it's risk. They're literally assessing risk. It's math. Like the business is math. Yeah. Like if you really think it's just math, is the entire business of insurance. And what's crazy, just as a side note, is that a great way of figuring out the highest leverage businesses that exist is looking at the business that's been here the longest. Insurance has been here since before the world wars.
Right.
The banks have been around forever. Right, JP Morgan was around the 1800s.
Wow.
Right, the biggest insurance companies, they're all 100 plus years old. They're founded in the 1800s. And so when you have a business that's lasted that long, to me, that's a great breadcrumb of like, this thing has to print money. Because it means that they were able to still keep making money through wars, through famines, through depressions, all of it. And they were still able to keep going. And so I think that when people are like, when you look at all many of the biggest businesses that exist, they have phenomenal gross margins.